Hi everybody, I'm Sheree from the Monroe County Library System, and I've got some great new books and a few old favorites to share with you. First, I want to talk about the first week in October, which is designated by the American Library Association as Banned Book Week. Not band, B-A-N-D, like making music, but banned, B-A-N-E-N-E-D, which is when people decide that books should be taken out of schools or libraries because they are not appropriate for children in some way. But here at the library, we think every family should decide what it is they want to read. So I think some of you have heard me talk about this book before. It's called Ban This Book, and it's about a girl who comes back to school in September and is so excited to check her favorite book out of the school library. But when she gets there, she's told that it's been taken off the shelf because there's some questions about whether kids should be reading it. She sneaks in her own copy one day and lends it to her friend, and that becomes another book, and pretty soon she's got a library of banned books in her locker she's sharing with everybody. If you're wondering if you've ever seen or heard of a banned book, I can tell you two that we've talked a lot about. This is 2 Degrees by Alan Gratz. It's a book about climate change and the story of 3 kids, one who is trapped in a forest fire, one who is the victim of a hurricane and is swept away in that storm, and then one is about a kid in the Arctic and the struggles he has, and then all those stories come together. Also, Captain Underpants, a frequently banned book because the guy's wearing underpants. I also wanted to mention The Attack of the Black Rectangles. This is a new book about book censorship, and the kids at school are assigned a book for their reading circle and find that there are certain words that have been blacked out. The book that they're reading is The Devil's Arithmetic, and so it's a real book with a real author, and she makes a guest appearance in Attack of the Black Rectangles. Now, because we want you to read everything, everywhere, all the time, I have a lot of other books to share. If you love Mac Barnett and John Klassen as much as I do, they are a duo who created the 3 Billy Goats Gruff, which I've read to a lot of you, The Dark, and our favorite Sam and Dave Dig a Hole. Mac usually writes the words, John makes the illustrations, but they have some great books where they've split up a little bit. First of all, graphic novel, The First Cat in Space Ate Pizza. Of course they did. This is by Mac Barnett, and you can see that's a graphic novel and very funny. Mac Barnett also wrote Mac B. Kid Spy, about a kid, himself supposedly, who was a spy when he was younger and did special investigative work for the Queen of England. A lot of illustrations, not quite a graphic novel, but a lot to look at as well as read. But the brand new, my favorite book, this is The Skull by John Klassen. And as you can see, it's the story of a little girl who's wandering in the woods when she comes across a skull and the adventure they have together in the castle where the skull lives. So you might want to check all of those great books out by John Klassen and Mac Barnett. You can't go wrong with them. I mentioned one graphic novel. I want to talk about a couple more. Investigators, there is a new book out in the series, but there is also a spin-off, The Agents of Suit. Now, The Agents of Suit is another undercover investigator, a chameleon as a matter of fact, who is with the Special Undercover Investigation Team, or SUIT. It's a graphic novel, it's a mystery, but it's also really funny. If you've read any of the investigators books, you know that it's crime-solving alligators. Now, yes, their office is in a toilet, but that doesn't mean they're not great professionals. My new favorite graphic is Bat Cat, about sort of an angry cat who likes to be by himself, all on his own in his own little house on Spooky Isle, until one day a ghost floats in and won't give Bat Cat any rest. So again, kind of creepy, kind of funny, loved it. We talked a little bit about graphic novels. I also want to talk about anthologies or collections of short stories. If you don't like to read a book that's page after page after page of one story, these are all collections of stories, and they come in every shape and size. This one is about baseball, and it's all short stories about baseball written by great authors for young people. This is You Are Here. It's about a bunch of Asian American kids who are trapped in an airport one day, and how each one of their stories is happening in the airport while they're all trying to get out of there. This is Flying Lessons and Other Stories. It's from a group called We Need Diverse Books, and it is stories about all different kinds of people, different kinds of kids. We talked about in class a couple times, I think, The Ice Cream Machine and the Human Kaboom by Adam Rubin. He's the guy who wrote Dragons Love Tacos. The Ice Cream Machine is all stories about ice cream, and the Human Kaboom is all about stories where somebody or something explodes. And last but not least, over there is Funny Girl, which is all hilarious stories about girls. Short, fast, you can jump in and read one, you can read a bunch, you can move around the book. I love them for that reason. The one book you're gonna be seeing me talk a lot about when I come to school this year is The Eyes of the Impossible. I don't know if you can see how beautiful this book is. It has a gorgeous carved wooden cover where some of the picture shows through, gold edged. This is not the copy we have in the library. The copy we have in the library is a regular looking book. This is a special edition that was so gorgeous I had to buy it. The Eyes is this dog right here. His name is Johan, and he is a free dog who roams his island and watches everything that's going on. His eyes see everything, and then he reports back to the senior island members, which are 3 buffalo who live in a pen. One day, and so Johan has a lot of adventures, but one day he decides that his most important job is to free the buffalo from their pen. And he hatches an elaborate plot with a lot of the other animals on the island of how they're going to smuggle some buffalo off an island. It's a beautiful book written by Dave Eggers, not just the way it looks, but the story. I'm gonna be reading it over and over and over again and encouraging you all to do the same. Last but not least, my fans of the one and only Ivan, the one and only Bob, it's the one and only Ruby. This is the baby elephant story. She appears in the other 2 stories, and now it tells us what's happening with Ruby. I hope that you found a great story that you want to share here, and that you read, come into the library, check out these books, and then share how great they were with your friends. Remember, you can come into any library and get a library card. It takes just a few minutes, costs you no money, and then you can borrow all of these. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you later.